Earlier today, I asked you guys to leave me some comments, some questions about our Miami Hurricanes. Let's waste no time. Let's take a look at some of the questions I saw. I screenshotted. Let's talk about things. So you're not sold on who we have now. Now, I believe this is a question from David talking about our quarterback situation. He's asking, am I not sold on Emory or JB11? And here's the way I look at quarterbacks. You have two categories of quarterbacks. You have quarterbacks that are day one, ready to go, ready to win you games. This is how I look at quarterbacks. And I believe in those categories, that's where you look at Will Howard. That's where you look at Cam Ward. Then you have quarterbacks where they're going to need time to develop. That's where I look at JB11. That's where I look at Emory. I like those guys, but I feel like they still have to work. And if they were to start from Miami next year, I believe there's going to be games where they play well. Then there's going to be games where there's going to be some growing pains. I want to win right away. I want to win now. So if we can get one of those two quarterbacks, I say go and get them. And then we can develop, if they stay, our younger quarterback. So we'll be set up pretty good. You got one quarterback who's going to most likely, he's a veteran, start right away or be starting right away, while you still give Emory and JB11 time to develop. I feel like nowadays quarterbacks don't want to hear that. They want to play right away. But, hey, sometimes you need time to develop, and sometimes you need time to sit and watch and not get thrown right into the fire, which I've seen a lot of quarterbacks' careers ruined because they were started before they were ready. Is Emory ready to be a starting quarterback? I like what I saw. I still think he needs some things to work on. Is JB11 ready to start right away? I don't know. I haven't seen him play in a year. We'll see. We'll know more about him when we get the bowl game. And I don't want to make any assumptions based off something I seen a year ago, when you got to give a quarterback, they can get better. So I look forward to seeing him in the Rutgers game. But I do think those are quarterbacks that you can develop. But I think when you look at a Cam Ward, a Will Howard, those are quarterbacks that can come in and right away and push us toward the 12-team playoff. Malik Murphy from Texas just hit the portal. Higher ceiling than Ja'Cory Brown. I hate saying quarterback potential or higher ceiling, because honestly, most of the time I'm wrong. There are times where I look at a quarterback in high school and I'll say, boy, his ceiling's off the roof. I've even come on here and said, guys, we got us a good one. And then he gets to Miami and he doesn't produce. He can't handle the rigorous, the day-to-day grind of being a QB1, the day-to-day grind. He plays one good game, I hype him up, and then he looks terrible. So anybody can jump on the mic and say, Malik Murphy has great upside, we should go get him. But how do we know that? Now, Malik Murphy from Texas entered the transfer portal this week. He played, I believe he started one game against Kansas State. I did watch that game, and it wasn't really impressive. He looked like a young quarterback that still needed development. I look at quarterbacks in two different categories. You're ready to start day one, you need development. Malik Murphy is a quarterback that I think needs development. And tall, big. He worked under Steve Sarkisian, or he was under him. So, you got to look at, Steve does good with quarterbacks. Throws a nice ball, man. He throws that nice little floater. But as they come in, we recruit him. He's our day one starter. I wouldn't be as confident as I would. I think he needs time to development. As for upside, I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard for me to judge potential and upside. It's easy to say, but it's really hard to judge. I do know this. I will have more information after the Rutgers game when it comes to Ja'Cory Brown, right? I will have more information on him. Malik Murphy, I watched his game against Kansas State. I think he still needs some work But who knows if he gets a full camp as a day one starter, who knows what he could do. I hope that answers your question. Do you see any other flips coming? Look, Mario working on the trail. He's working on the trail. And there could be a couple flips, but I think the main one that we've all seen coming is running back from St. Thomas Aquinas, Jordan Lyle. Right now, he's an Ohio State commit. That's right, Ohio State. If you're watching this video, we come up into your trap. We take your trap, right? Whatever we want from y'all, we go and get. Maybe even the #1 player in the nation. I don't want to get too fast. We're talking. Let's talk about Jordan Lyle, though. If there was a player that I would say I believe that we're going to flip, is going to be Jordan Lyle. Gabby Routier from 247, Steve Wilflon, they've already put in crystal balls that the flip is going to happen. This is something that has been working for the last 2 months, and I think it's going to happen. I think Miami's going to flip him. If I had to pick one, that's one I would look at. I think some other names that's been thrown out there. And guys, I always like to make this clear to you. I'm a fan just like you. I'm just a guy who loves to make content and who loves to voice my opinion on the camera. All the same articles, I give all the credit to 247. I give Rivals on 3. They're the ones who are deep diving into these. I have no connections into these players. But the smoke here is just some names thrown out there. I think Jordan Lyle will most likely flip. Some names that I'm just kind of looking at, Jeremiah Smith. They said he wasn't going to take any more visit. Then there was announcement that he's going to take a Miami visit. Mario's working. Mario and staff is working, and I expect maybe 1 or 2 flips. But if I had to pound the table for one that I think for sure is going to happen, is Jordan Lyle. Howard has been mentioned to Washington. So do we keep waiting, or do we call Howard and ask what will it take for him to commit? I like Will Howard. Man. I like Cameron Ward. So do we wait for Cameron Ward, or do we call Will Howard and say it's yours? If it was me, I'm going to be honest with you. If it was me, I would call Will Howard and say, do you want to commit? If he says yes, let's go. Get our quarterback, start working at other positions. That's because I'm a prideful guy, sometimes too much. I'm a type of guy where if you want to be a Miami Hurricane, then okay, you can be a Miami Hurricane. Then, if you want to take a look at everybody else, then you can go home and do that. But if there's 2 players, I like them both. One of them wants to commit. The other one wants to take time, which is very reasonable, which is, what you really want a quarterback to do. But me personally, and the pride and the loyalty that I love so much, I would rather go with the player who's saying, I want to be a Miami Hurricane, if that's what Will Howard's saying. But I will say this. If you get, and Adam Kane, I believe that is your name in the comments, made this point. If you get Cam Ward, not only are you getting a day one starter, not only are you getting a dynamic playmaker, not only are you getting one of the top quarterbacks from the transfer portal, you are keeping him from Florida State. So that is a plus 2. So maybe it's worth the wait to try to close Cam. You get Cam, you get everything you want, and the icing on the cake is that you keep him from Florida State, because right now there's been no reporting of Will Howard and Florida State having any type of connection. So that's something to think about. I will keep saying I like both of these quarterbacks the same. If Will Howard, it's a tough decision. But me, I'm a prideful guy, so I would go with who's rocking with me from day one. So we'll see what happens. So if we don't get Cam or Will, who is Miami's third option, I think Kyle McCord would be a good third option. What do you think? I think people hear the name Kyle McCord and they get upset. They get mad. I look at Kyle McCord not having really dove into his film as a quarterback who threw for 20-plus touchdowns, came one play away from being in the college football playoffs, one play away from beating the #1 team in the nation, a team that beat a quarterback that helped beat Notre Dame, a quarterback who only lost 1 game. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I think because Miami's putting all this time and effort on Will Howard and Cam Ward, I don't know if Kyle McCord is going to be an option. I just heard that he's already met with Nebraska. He's meeting with Syracuse. And the thing is, I want to make this clear. There's a drop-off. In my eyes, there's a drop-off. You have those two, and then whoever else is going to be a drop-off. No matter if it's our young quarterbacks that we have on the current roster or if it's somebody like a Kyle McCord, if it's somebody like a DJ Ugalele, it's going to be a drop-off. Are those two solid quarterbacks that I just named? Yeah, they're solid. I wouldn't be mad, but it's different than having Will Howard and Cam Ward, in my opinion. How do you feel about the center from Indiana? Zach Carpenter from Indiana was at Michigan, transferred to Indiana. He played a little bit at Michigan, transferred to Indiana, dealt with the injury, played 10 games last year. He's in the transfer portal, and a lot of schools are calling him. So the ideal thing would be for him to visit Miami. He will be visiting Miami, getting him to commit. He goes into camp. He goes up against Ryan Rodriguez. The winner is our center. Again, just like JB11's auditioning, Ryan Rodriguez, I'm assuming he's going to be our starting center in the game versus Rutgers. We're going to get to see him work too. So I would love to add Zach Carpenter. I would love to bring him to camp. You're never going to hear me say I don't want offensive and defensive linemen. No. Bring in as many as you want to. The thing is, with an offensive line, it's about how they gel. And I thought this Miami team last year did a good job of adding Javion Cohen and adding Matt Lee, and they fit 5 guys as a unit so well, right? And I'm hoping whoever we bring in next, Zach Carpenter doesn't mean he's going to be at the level that Matt Lee was. I really hate that we lost Matt Lee. I really wish he would have stayed because that would have been great. But he didn't. I like the center. He's visiting a lot of schools, so it's not just going to be easy peasy come to Miami. We're going to have to compete. We're going to have to work. We're going to have to try to get him. If he's not our center, I think we can look at other options. But right now, Ryan Rodriguez is our center. He's going to be our center versus Rutgers. And even if we bring in Zach Carpenter, he's going to have to compete with Ryan, and we'll see who gets to be the starter. But I like him, and I would like for him to come to Miami, and he is visiting Miami. Those are all the questions. I appreciate everybody who dropped their question. If your question didn't get answered today, it's okay. Try again. In life, you may not get it the first time. You may not get it the second time, but if you persevere, the next time you knock on that door, your gift may be right there. So go ahead and leave your comment, and maybe it'll make the next video. And I appreciate everybody who watched the channel. I'm out. Peace.